Hello internet world and welcome to another live broadcast. In today's broadcast I'll be chatting to you guys and girls. I really do appreciate you all joining the live broadcast, and I'll also be covering off some of the technology I've got up here behind me on the shelves in the studio. And then throughout this particular broadcast I'll also be doing some Q&A as well, because I know you love the Q&A and I love interacting with you too and answering as many questions as I can. So before I get this broadcast started good and proper, let's just have a look inside the live chat and see who's tuned in. So we have got quite a few tuned in already, which I really do appreciate. So I'm going to say some hellos to everyone that has tuned in so far, including Lavi. Hi Lavi, Will Moody Vlogs, Io Mustafa, Alex, hello Alex, and Darren. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Now, in today's broadcast, hopefully, fingers crossed, we have got better sound. I'm really hoping we got better sound. In one of the broadcasts I did the other day, there was some crackling going on in the microphone, so I switched out microphones. I've also tried to improve the lighting a little bit by moving over to this side of the studio, and you can see the light hitting my receding hairline, but it's all good. It's all good, and we've got so much to talk to you about behind me here, and of course taking your questions. So let's have a look in the chat and see if we've got any questions coming already, and we'll answer a few early questions and then we'll move on to looking at some of this technology. Hello to Pip and also to Snapshoot as well. And Will Moody says he is 14W Moody 14 from Twitter. Alex Anderton asks, what device is this being streamed on? Well, when I was doing my streams about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, before I had my wisdom teeth removal, I was using smartphones. And I think I got a lucky start to using the smartphones because YouTube had just integrated it within their app. I really wanted to test it out. And it worked extremely well. The quality was very, very good indeed. But after coming back to live streaming, after I'd recovered from the wisdom teeth, I tried a couple of smartphone broadcasts and it didn't go very well at all. There was an issue with the bandwidth, an issue with the quality, and it was just not looking good. So the streaming tonight, the actual broadcast, is actually being done from a MacBook Pro, the latest MacBook Pro, 15-inch. And for ease, I'm using the internal microphones because I think it works very well. The audio sounds good to me. I was going to be using a Brother webcam, but for some reason, the lighting, I've got some natural light coming in on the left-hand side of me here, and it just didn't look good. So I switched to the built-in FaceTime camera on the MacBook Pro. So, and it's all set up on like a laptop stand. So when I actually switch windows, we do get a little tiny bit of wobble, which I can't really avoid, but I'll try to keep that to a minimum. So that's what we're streaming on tonight. Unstoppable1237 asks my opinion on the S7 Active. Well, the Samsung Galaxy S7 was a fantastic smartphone, and I don't think the S7 Active in any way detracts from that. It's just a lot more rugged. Still great implementation of the software from Samsung. They seem to be refining their overlay that goes on top of Google Android, and I think they're doing a much better job lately, especially with the S8 and the S8 Plus. The S8 Plus I'm really impressed with. So I think if you fancy one of these more rugged options for smartphones, then the S7 Active could well be a good choice. So let's move on to take a look at a bit of the technology behind me. I'm going to be turning around, reaching up here a little bit. The first thing I want to just show you is something that's very, very simple. It's not a very high-tech item, but I just want to highlight the fact of how good these are. And that is these two USB cables. Now, when we moved over to the MacBook Pro, when I moved over to the MacBook Pro, and a lot of products are going this way nowadays, they're moving over to USB-C. So it's we need USB-C cables basically, And also with the latest smartphones, the S8 and S8 Plus from Samsung, for example, all charge via USB-C. I've got an LG G6 coming in. That's actually landing in the studio tomorrow. Again, USB-C. So a good USB-C cable is a very, very good investment. Obviously, you get one with your device, but you always need spares. And certainly using the late 2016 MacBook Pro, these will come in very handy. So I've got two different ones here. Both USB-C sync and charge from ADATA. One of them's a 3.1 USB-A to USB-C, and the other one's a USB-C to USB-C. And the reason I want to highlight these, this is what they look like. And they are just very, very high quality cables, extremely high quality. Nice sort of gauge of actual cable here, but the actual tips and the pieces that go around that are branded ADATA are actually metal, so very, very nice quality. Now this is the USB 3 cable and this is the USB 3.1 cable. So if you're in the market for something like this, these are well worth checking out. And as I do with all of the live broadcasts, I'll try and put links to as many of the products as I can find and share those with you after the broadcast goes live on the channel. So let's move on to the next product, which is sitting up behind me here. This is the product box. This is a very, very nice product. This is the E5 wireless smart speaker. It's from GGMM. It's Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, so two different wireless modes. It also supports Spotify, Tidal, iHeartRadio, tuning radio. It's got 4 drivers and 2 subwoofers in, and adjustments so you can adjust the bass and treble. Super slim, and it's got a playtime of up to 15 hours on a single charge. You've also got multi-room play, so you can actually play music to multiple speakers at the same time, and it's got a USB output port. So that's what the product box looks like. Let me grab the speaker down. I'm really impressed with this. It actually comes in the box with like this sort of regular sort of strap or carry handle that you can attach to these 2 little bits here on either side. And it makes it look a little bit more retro. I think it's just a really nice design, and it's got some nice weight to it as well. This is a plasticized metal grille on the front, and then these are all of the controls across the top, and it's just so well engineered. It just looks extremely well made. I love the fact that they've done sort of concentric circles and patterns on all of the controls here as well. It's also got a little microphone button over here, and on the opposing side is the microphone, and you can actually use this to actually take a call and use it as a hands-free speaker. Adjustment, of course, for your bass and treble. I just love the fact these have got rotary dials on. Very, very nice indeed. Around the back, we've got the wireless connection button, USB output. We've got the input for the power supply that comes inside the box, and also the 3.5mm auxiliary input as well. So you can sort of hardwire something into the speaker. Little dimples across the back as well. Just looks very, very nice. A really robust speaker, and it's got a really nice design in the fact that we've got 4 drivers and 2 sort of subwoofer or woofer units for those lower frequencies set into this middle section here. And it just sounds very, very good indeed. Really nice quality audio from this. It's reasonably priced. It's not the cheapest speaker you'll find, but I certainly will leave a link to this down in the video description. It comes in different colors as well, white and black. The white one I just think looks very, very crisp indeed. I like my white gadgets. It's just so crisp and clean. I just absolutely love it. A very, very good option if you're in the market for a Bluetooth speaker. So let me just pop that back up there, and we'll switch back to the chat and see if there are any other questions coming in. We've got Pip Tomlinson, and Pip is asking, do you find the fingerprint sensor position on the S8 troublesome? You're referring to the Samsung Galaxy S8. I had the S8 Plus in the studio, and I found it very, very bad. It was accurate. It would read my fingerprint every single time, but it was so poorly placed. I kept touching the camera, and on the S8 Plus especially, you'll find that you have to reach up even further because it is a larger, taller phone. And why didn't they just put it in a central position underneath the camera? Why on earth didn't they do that? Will Moody Vlog says this stream is miles better than the one you did with the S8. Awesome, that is great news. I really do appreciate it. Lavi Kurana asks, you look like Planet Ocean by Amiga. Very funny, very, very funny. And Lewis Bird says, does that work with Sonos? The speaker that I just showed you does not work with Sonos. It's purely Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Velimir Turk says, hello from Slovenia. Hello to you. Nice of you to tune in. I really do appreciate it. I love your videos, Dave. Again, thank you for the kind words. Will you check out the new Huawei P10? Surprise, surprise. I've already had the P10 in the studio. It's actually gone back now because it was a loan unit from Vodafone. Awesome smartphone, really good. I love the monochrome camera on it. I just really thought they'd done the camera well. It's got Leica optics. And either tomorrow or the next day, I've got a Huawei P10 4K video sample going up on the channel. So that's already recorded. It's going up on the channel either tomorrow or the next day. I can't remember which day. So stay tuned for that. That will just arrive in your subscription box if you've clicked the notification bell on my channel subscription. So do keep an eye out for that. Darren says that speaker just needs an SD card slot to make it perfect. That would be perfect. And Darren Bird says that he thinks my Amazon announcement yesterday was a wind-up. I did a broadcast yesterday about the Amazon Echo Look, I think it's called, if memory serves me right, a camera from Amazon that takes selfie videos and photos, and I thought it was a wind-up as well, but it isn't a wind-up. So a really far out there product from Amazon, which I don't think will be a huge success, but only time will tell, no doubt. So anyway, we're going to take a look at another product here, which I'm really excited about. And this was purchased with my own money. This is an investment for the channel, and it's a new microphone. This is a Sennheiser MKE 440 or MKE 440. They retail for, I think, round about, let me just check, round about £300 or £350. So it's not a cheap microphone. It's designed to go on top of a DSLR or a Micro Four Thirds or mirrorless camera with a microphone input. And it's a little bit different from the regular shotgun microphones, which are just a single mic. So let me just open this up, and I'm going to actually give you a look. I had a little sneak peek earlier. Comes inside the box with some paperwork. It also comes supplied with a couple of AAA batteries, and the microphone itself is just very, very different to what you would normally see when you're talking about a sort of shotgun microphone, and that's because it looks like a V shape. It has in fact got two microphones inside in this stereo array, so it's still a very focused microphone. So if you imagine that on top of your DSLR or mirrorless camera, the cable comes out the front, captive cable, which is a little bit of a shame. I would have liked to have seen that socketed. But this plugs into your 3.5mm microphone jack. And then you've got some controls on the side. You've got a on-off button, you've got level controls, and also a filter control as well. The filter control will take away sort of background or rumble noise. But if you imagine that sitting on top of your camera, pointing towards you, it's still going to be a very focused sound because it's taking your voice in sort of the inner sections of the microphone and the front address of the microphone as well. So it's still very, very focused. But what this does, it does give you a stereo recording because there are two microphones, and it will also capture slightly off axis as well, but it won't capture behind the mic, and it won't capture when you're sort of at the side of the microphone. So that's one of the big differences with this. When you've got a single shotgun microphone, it's very, very focused, but can sound more echoey. So I think they've done something really special with this. And also, there's no external shock mount mechanism. So this attaches to the hot shoe or a cold shoe. and the actual shock mount is inside. So it's still suspended, but it's all hidden away inside, which is really, really good. You can also get a windshield for this as well. I'm really excited to try this. I haven't tried it yet, but I'll be trying it, and I'll bring you a video about this, a regular video, not a live broadcast, demonstrating how this sounds in comparison to the built-in microphone. Also, I'll compare it to a Rode Stereo Video Mic Pro, and of course the MKE 440. So that's coming up very, very soon on the channel. And I think that that microphone looks awesome. If it sounds as good as it looks, then it's going to be a winner, most definitely. So we're going to take some more questions. If you've got any questions about the microphone, anything I've showed you so far, or I've even got my camera hidden away behind me here. So if you've got any questions about what camera I use for the videos on the channel, you want to take a look at it, got any questions about cameras in general or videography, then please do leave them in the chat and I'll answer as many as I can. Lavi Karuna says, no, I mean you like the Planet Ocean watch. Yes, I do like the Omega Planet Ocean. Fantastic watch. Actually, let's do a wristwatch check. If you haven't seen this video on my luxury lifestyle channel yet, this is a Junghans Form A. Really nice timepiece. So simple in its design. It's an automatic timepiece, and I just love it. I just love the simplicity of this design. Not sure if I can give you a very good close-up of it, but if you haven't seen this, I have got another channel called the Luxury Lifestyle channel, so please do check that out. Marin All Rai says, should I buy the Moto G5 Plus? The Moto G5 Plus I haven't actually handled myself. I've had the Moto G5, so the smaller version, and I think they're building in so many great features and specifications, but they're no longer a real budget end smartphone. The price has crept up on the Moto G5 and the G5 Plus. Still very affordable, but certainly not the bargain that it used to be. But yeah, if you don't want to spend flagship money and you still want a decent smartphone, then definitely, it's definitely worth checking out. Will Moody Vlogs asks, what camera do you use and can we see it? Yes, you can. I'm just going to take a quick drink. Now, here's a bit of a reveal for you on the channel as well. When the Panasonic GH5 was launched, I actually had one in the studio. It was going to be my new production camera, and I brought you some videos about it, and I decided not to keep it. Why did I decide not to keep it? Well, I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4 production cameras which I use for my commercial videos, which don't appear on YouTube. These are videos for private clients. The GH5 was intended to be like a crossover camera. So something I'd use for my YouTube videos, and also something that when I was wanting to travel light, then I might use for some of the commercial videos as well. But the focus really let it down. And to be honest, when I compared the footage compared to what I used to record my YouTube videos, it wasn't that much of an improvement. So when you're selecting a camera for yourself, I think it really should be determined what camera you buy by what delivery method you're going to use for your videos. So for example, my commercial shoots, they're not all going to appear on YouTube. A lot of them might appear on a pro Vimeo account, or they'll just be broadcast from a USB thumb drive or a flash drive or a hard drive for internal use within a company. And sometimes they're broadcast on a large screen that has a 4K resolution or a UHD resolution. So the commercial videos are very sort of irrelevant to YouTube. You know, they're not compressed at all. I have to deliver the highest possible quality to the client. And when I'm uploading to YouTube with the GH5 and the Panasonic G80 that I use, or I used before the GH5 arrived, there was no difference. There was a difference in the edit. So when I was looking back at the footage before it was uploaded, then there would definitely be a difference. You could definitely see it retained more detail. There was more detail in the shadow areas, But once it was uploaded and compressed on YouTube, or indeed on Vimeo, but not so much on Vimeo, the difference was virtually impossible to see unless you really knew what you were looking for. So it wasn't a worthwhile investment. And I always look at these investments as they've got to return what I pay for them. I don't buy the cameras for fun, although I do enjoy photography and videography. But maybe I'll get one again in the future. But I just don't think it was any improvement for its intended use. So it did not stay as one of my production cameras. And what I've gone back to using is the Panasonic G80. And in fact, even the G7, so the lower end and cheaper model from Panasonic, still gives you really great quality. You know, almost equal to this. I just like some of the controls on this, and it's a little bit more robust. What makes it an even bigger difference is the optics that you're using. So I'm using an Olympus 12 to 40 millimeter pro lens. This is a constant f2.8 aperture, and the optics really do make a difference. And then what makes even more difference is, of course, if you light your subject properly. So if I was giving advice to somebody who was wanting to do videos for YouTube, it would be by a Panasonic G7 or a G80, G85. Don't spend the extra money on a GH5 unless money is no object and you just have to have the best. You know, save some money, invest in a really good lens. The lens makes a big difference to the overall quality you're going to get. So that is my advice to you, and this is what I use for pretty much all of my YouTube videos. So brilliant question, and I'm really happy to share that with you. You know, I really do think it's important not to overspend when you're looking at production equipment. Sunyu Nath says, what microphone do you use for your main videos? I can actually show you that as well. I've got my microphone box down here. I'll keep all of my bits that I use on a regular basis in here. And this is what I use for my main audio. And it's from Sennheiser. It's a Sennheiser AVX wireless microphone. It's got a little lapel mic attached to it. This is the transmitter. And then just here, this is the receiver. So this receiver module goes on top of the camera on the hot shoe, and then 3.5mm audio jack into the side of the camera. And that's what I use for the main videos where I'm moving around. If I'm doing sort of a behind the camera shot where I've got the camera facing down, pointing towards a table, then I'll attach a wired microphone, so I'm not relying on that wireless connection. So if I'm not going to be moving around, then I'll use a Rode SmartLav Plus. You use a little tiny adapter for it to work with a DSLR, and I'll do, again, the audio direct into the camera. Now, I am looking at changing some of that maybe in the future. I will be testing this Sennheiser MKE 440. If that works well when I'm moving around slightly, then that may well be used a little bit more often than the wireless microphone. So that's what I use for audio at the moment. Todd's Nerd Cave asks, Dave, do you plan to do a full review of the GH5? No, I'm not going to do a full review. It's no longer with me in the studio. Darren Gazer says he loves his Panasonic GH6, loved it since you used the same model on your channel. The Panasonic G6 is an amazing camera, and it just goes to show you can get great quality out of previous models, and you don't have to buy the top end model. It's nice if you can afford it, but you don't have to. The Nerd Cave also says, I can understand Dave's reason for staying with the G80. For me, I wanted the 4K 60 frames per second and the 1080p 180 frames per second. Yeah, that is a very good reason. If you're going to be doing slow motion, then the GH5 has got some really good features. Adam Jones says, my go-to portable speaker, what is it? I don't have a go-to portable speaker. I use the Amazon Alexa sometimes, and I get so many sort of speakers into review that I normally just sort of use whatever is in the studio at the time. So I haven't got a go-to one. So before I take any more questions, I'm going to show you some more technology. I think I've got another 2 things to show you before I move on to some more questions. So let's have a look at this. Now, don't turn off the live broadcast. In fact, before I show you this, let me just put that to one side. I just want to tweet out a link. And if you can all do the same, that would be fantastic. If you can tweet out a link to the broadcast, that would be really appreciated. Always, the more the merrier. Now, I'm going to show you the product I just put down, and don't turn off the broadcast. Do not click the leave this broadcast button, because I know I show you a lot of these. I'm going to emphasize again just how useful they are. This is, let me double tap that power button. Bit of key light behind me here. This is a multifunctional video light. No, it's not. It's a battery pack. This is a battery pack from Easy Accessories, or EasyAcc. And the reason I show you these so often, let me just turn that flashlight off. The reason I show you these is because they're super useful. So many devices, including compact cameras, charge via USB now. Even some mirrorless cameras do. And things are always running out of power when I'm out and about, including my smartphone. And this is a power bank. This is a really nice, I think this is a 13,000 milliamp hour. Yeah, it's a 13,000 milliamp hour battery. It's got a couple of micro USB ports on the side. It's also got a couple of full-size USBs. It's also got that flashlight, which if you double tap the power button comes on. So that's very useful. If you keep one of these in your car, coming home late at night, you need a bit of extra light, then it can be used for that. It's also got two little LED lights on the front, which means we're at 50% capacity left. There are 4 LED lights in total, and that just indicates how much juice is left in the battery pack. And these are just super useful. Always have one of these when I go down to London, just in case I need to top up the smartphone or another device. So again, I'll leave a link down in the video description area after the broadcast is finished to where you can pick up one of these for yourself. And the other product I want to show you comes in this box here. These are the Kitsound Harlem wireless headphones. Playtime of up to 30 hours on these from a single charge, and the charge takes round about 2 hours. And they're just really nice, affordable wireless or Bluetooth headphones. Let's take a closer look. So the thing that I really like about these actually is not only the audio quality, which I'll talk to you about in a short while, but I like the color. It's sort of like, it doesn't quite match my jumper, but it's a blue, but it's like a slate blue with a hint of violet in it as well. And these bits here, these metal portions, are like a gunmetal finish. They're just really nicely done. Obviously you can extend them as you can with most headphones. We've got decent padding around the top, decent padding on the ear cups as well. And these rotate very slightly on this axis, so we can actually adjust them nicely. They also go in and out slightly, and you can fold them down if you really want to. I don't think they fold completely flat though, so that's as far as they go. On one of the ear cups, we've got the input here for charging. We've also got some volume controls, we've got a microphone, and we've also got the main on-off button. This also acts as track controls, and it's a little push button as well. So this has actually got built-in microphones. So if a call did come through whilst you were listening to music, you can actually take that call. Now they're not over ear, they're actually on ear headphones. So they don't cut out a lot of the external noise, and they do leak a little bit of noise when you've got things up to full volume, but they're very, very comfortable and very lightweight. And the audio quality is decent. The sort of lower end frequencies aren't that great. They're quite a small headphone, so they don't go very, very low, but still convincing bass frequencies. The actual mid-tones and the trebles more than acceptable. When you are listening to something that's got a lot of treble in it, then they can sound a little tiny bit sort of tinny, a little bit sort of clinical, but it's not a deal breaker. The mid-tones vocals on here, very, very nice indeed. They do a really good job. And I just like the way they sound and the way they feel and the price point. Kitsound do some amazing products. Kitsound do speakers, They also do action cameras, lots of different products, and their headphones are always very, very well priced, and they do sound decent as well for the price point. So again, this is the Kitsound Harlem, and I'll leave a link to these down in the video description when this broadcast finishes. So that's all of the technology that I want to show you today. So we're going to move back to taking some more questions, and let's have a look. So we've got a question here from Sickfish Sticks. Hey Dave, are you wearing a Tayrock watch by any chance? No, this is a Junghans Form A. So Junghans Form A automatic watch. I've done reviews for Tayrock before. Tayrock makes some really nice quartz watches, more fashion oriented watches. I don't think they do any mechanical watches, and I'm really into my mechanical timepieces. But I have got another Tayrock video coming up soon for you, so do keep an eye out for that. Will Moody Vlogs, thank you very much for tweeting out a link to the stream. Nuno Neves asks, what do I think of the S8? Would I make it my daily driver? Would you choose the S8 or the S8 Plus? Haven't handled the S8, so can't comment on it really. The S8 Plus, awesome screen, amazing camera. I just published a couple of days back my 4K video sample from the S8 Plus, and it is really very, very good indeed. I'm really impressed with the camera performance. Didn't like the fingerprint sensor placement. Didn't like the edges too much. It was just a little bit detracting for me, but a superb smartphone. Samsung did well. They've got a winner on their hands with it, and they needed a winner on their hands after what happened with the Galaxy Note recently. Enough said about that. So, but it really is very good. And if I had to choose between the S8 and the S8 Plus, if I was purchasing one for myself, I would choose the S8 Plus, purely because I'm now used to the iPhone 7 Plus. Alex Anderson, random and completely off topic, but who are your favourite band artist? Wow, that's a really difficult question because I don't listen to a lot of music, to be honest. I listen to some of the sort of solo artists on YouTube quite a lot. But I don't really have a favourite. I really don't. I know that sounds quite sad. I mean, I like things like Coldplay. You know, that would be one of the artists I listen to a lot. And that's probably one of the more modern ones that I listen to. I'm going to show my age here, but I grew up listening to UB40. And I still think that some of their audio tracks that they release nowadays sound really, really very good. But they're not at the height of popularity anymore, so that's completely showed my age there. But yeah, I would say Coldplay is probably one of the most listened to artists or bands I listen to nowadays. Darren Gator says you can never have enough power banks. Totally agree with you on that one. And Knight and Dave says, can you recommend the best bang for your buck and quality external SSD? External SSDs are not cheap, but the SanDisk Extreme 500 is in smaller capacities. I think it goes up to 1 terabytes now though, and I think that's a good option. That is a good quality, good speed without spending too much money. Will Moody Vlog says, on a phone, how much battery life and also how much storage would you like? Well, I'd like 36-hour battery life, I think is the ideal for smartphones. I know the LG G6 is meant to offer that, so I'm excited to be starting my tests of that very soon. How much storage would I like? Well, ideally 128 gigabytes, but a minimum 64 gigabytes. Darren Gator asks, will I be experimenting with legacy lenses? I think you've asked this before, and I would like to. I would like to find the time to explore that a lot more. So maybe for the future, maybe I'll do that in the future. Andy Seal, I'm glad you agree with me. Please don't make me cry. And Red Wine, great tracks. I totally agree with you there. Will Moody Vlogs, Apple or Samsung? Go back about a year, maybe a year and a half. I would always say Apple. Nowadays, either. Absolutely fine with either. I've been so close to switching to Google Android because of phones like the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. It really depends nowadays on if you've got a real strong preference between iOS and Android, because the hardware and the app availability is equal on both platforms now. So I couldn't choose between the two or recommend to you between the two. It really just depends on what you prefer. Nuno Neves asked, would you buy a MacBook now, or would you wait until the end of the year to see if it comes, if any updates come out? Right, I get asked this a lot, and it's a very, sounds like a very sort of abrupt answer, but it's not intended that way. I always advise people that if you're looking at buying a new computer, be it a MacBook, Windows PC, whatever, or even if you're buying, this applies to anything, a new camera, for example, is buy it when you need it, not when you want it. And there's a big difference between need and want. So if you've got a laptop at the moment that is not doing what you need it to do, so there's that word need again, so it's crashing, you're editing video and the exports take an hour, 2 hours, and you need it to take 10 minutes or 15 minutes. The screen's gone wrong, you know, or it's just crashing a lot and it's beyond repair, so you need a new laptop. I would buy a new laptop when you need it. If you just want a laptop, then wait until the update comes and then buy straight after the update. Or indeed, if you're the sort of person that needs the latest and greatest technology or wants the very latest, then of course buy straight after an update. The danger of waiting is that you can wait a long time and the new update will come and you'll say, oh, I'm not sure whether I'm going to buy it this time around. I'll wait for the next update. And what that shows you is that you don't need to make that purchase. So I know it sounds a very strange answer, but I would always buy something when you actually need to do that upgrade. For example, I didn't upgrade my MacBook Pro for a long time, and I waited until this one came out. My other one was still working fine, but I was waiting a long time for things to actually export when I was editing on it. Not that I edited on it very often. And I also wanted to make my latest purchase, the late 2016 MacBook Pro, my main editing machine. And in fact, I do most of my editing on this now, rather than doing it on the Mac Pro, the desktop. So that's my advice to you. I hope that helps. Bracken Mitrovic asked, are you going to buy the Samsung DeX? No, I had the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus into review. I've no longer got it, so I won't be buying the DeX, but I do think it looks like a really good product. The fact that we've now got enough processing power in our smartphones to run a Windows type environment, I know it's not Windows, but is fantastic. And I think it'll be a good solution for a lot of people. Sophie G asked, do you recommend the MacBook Pro without the touch bar? Well, you're right. There is a late 2016 MacBook Pro that's available without the touch bar. And I think it's a fantastic machine. If you are mainly doing web browsing, office work, social media, some photo editing and some video editing, so you're not using it for real high-end stuff all the time, then that base model without the touch bar is a fantastic choice. And in fact, I can still say this wholeheartedly, I've got the 15-inch MacBook Pro top end with the touch bar, and I still don't use the touch bar to its full potential. I use it to turn the volume up and down. I use it to turn the brightness up and down. Sometimes when I go to use it for the emoticons, the emoticon and the whole touch bar disappears. Why it does that, I've got no idea. And I still don't see that it is a fantastic implementation of what they could have done with the late 2016 MacBook Pro. I know we're not going to get a full touchscreen on our laptops or on our MacBook Pros. I know Apple are really against that. The touch bar is a nice idea, but I would much rather have a normal function bar still. So there you go. I said it. Gaming. What camera can I get for under $40? You're really looking on the likes of Amazon on an action camera, something like that. You can just about scrape a 4K action camera, but more likely a 1080p action camera, I would go for something like that. Will Moody Vlogs asks, what video editing program do you edit your videos in? I use Final Cut Pro 10 on the MacBook Pro. And CJ the Creative Geek has tuned in to the live broadcast. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. Really nice to see you. And Paul Bentley as well. Hello to Paul. Thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to put a link down in the chat to this broadcast. If you can share that, I would really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who's asking questions. I really love doing these because I love the Q&As. I really do. So Paul Bentley has asked, excuse me, how is your Windows 10 PC? How many months ago was that now? I think it was probably about 2 months ago. I've got the Alienware Aurora, I think it's the R5 or R6, I forget now the exact model, but a really high-spec Windows 10 PC. My intention was to use that for editing on. I installed Adobe Premiere Pro. I installed Blackmagic Designs software as well. The name escapes me at the moment, but I installed that as well. And didn't like the Blackmagic software, Resolve. Loved Adobe Premiere Pro, I've used it before, but it kept crashing. Ingesting media, it kept crashing. Windows 10 would fall over every now and again, but it was quite stable, the operating system. But the software, Adobe Premiere Pro, was just terrible. And when I managed to ingest the footage into it and edit, even on the export, it would end up crashing. And it just got to a stage where it was interrupting my workflow. I'm very, very organized. I've got great time management, and it took a lot of time out of my day trying to implement that into my workflow, and it just was not going to happen. So it did not stay. It did not stay as a usable product in my production workflow. So it's no longer in the studio. It is still in another office. It is still being used. It's sort of going to waste because there's so much power there that it's a real shame that it's not being used to its full potential. But hey ho, you know, if something interrupts my workflow and it's not working as it should, then I have to move on. So the MacBook Pro is now my primary editing device. Gaming says, one question, please answer from your personal experience. If I start vlogging on YouTube, how much is the percentage of success between vlogging and a gaming channel? That's such a hard question, such a hard question to answer. I'll tell you why it's so difficult to answer, and that's because you just can't tell how people are going to engage with your content. There's just no telling whether they're going to like what you're talking about, like your style, and there are so many people producing content. So I wouldn't focus on how much success you're going to get. I would focus on what you're going to share. So I would look at what you're passionate about. So if you're passionate about photography, pick up your camera and make videos about your passion for photography. You know, what do you want to talk about? What do you like doing? If it's music or watching movies, maybe talk about the movies you've watched within your vlogs. So do something you're passionate about. Don't focus on how successful one type of content is going to be over the other. And if people engage with you and you build up that community, then you will find success without focusing on it. So I hope that sort of answers your question. It's very, very difficult to give that sort of advice because there are so many creators. CJ, the Creative Geek, how is things, Dave? Always happy being here. Things are good. Just to touch on a little personal note, I did mention it earlier in this broadcast. I lost almost a month of my sort of regular production schedule because I had 2 lots of wisdom tooth surgery plus some of my jawbone removed on this side, and the recovery period, I was sort of recovering and then had the second lot, so it stretched out that recovery period to almost a month. I know there are people a lot worse off than myself, but when you're going through it yourself, it does take you down. It does take your energy away from you. And it took me literally a month to get to where I am now, where I'm managing to record. It still is quite painful recording and talking all the time, but that was a month that I don't want to do again. So you know how it feels as well, CJ. So you know, but we manage it, don't we? And what got me back to where I am now is really focusing again on my passion. And I just was really champing at the bit, wanting to get back recording properly. I did some actual broadcasts and some recording when I probably shouldn't have done, but I was that keen to actually start sharing my passion again. So there you go. Darren Gator says I should try Coral Video Studio for editing. I will try that out. I'd completely forgotten about that application, so I will try that in the future. Will Moody Vlog says, I'm thinking of starting a tech YouTube channel, but do you think there is too many tech YouTubers? If you've got a unique way of presenting your content, then go for it. Definitely go for it. There's never too many of something, because if you never try, you'll never know whether it would have worked for you or not, or whether you'd have enjoyed doing it. So Will Moody Vlogs, just go for it, try it. Otherwise you'll just never know. There are people who do and people who think about doing in this world. And I think if you just be yourself, put yourself out there, be passionate, focus on what your end goal is, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. So stop thinking about it and just do it. Gaming says, thank you so much. One day you will have 2 million subs. And that day's very soon. I hope that happens. I hope that happens. If I ever hit 1 million subscribers, I will be very, very surprised. But wow, wouldn't that be amazing? CJ, Dave, I know I'm waiting to get back into videos. You got a hot op coming. Yeah, I heard about that. So I hope that goes well. Wish you all the best with that. I really do. Get your health sorted, and I just wish you a speedy recovery from that. So anyway, that is pretty much it for this broadcast. I just thank you again for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I love it because, or I love doing the live broadcasts purely because there's just so much interaction, and I can feel sort of your love towards me, and I just absolutely love interacting with you and answering your questions. And if my advice that I talk about, I know a lot of people say, oh, you're talking rubbish, and I get comments like that all the time. If I can give advice that helps get a schedule of uploading videos, apart from the live broadcasts, so my regular videos that I record in 4K and upload to the channel, if that helps one person make a good decision about buying a piece of equipment, helps them to avoid a bad piece of technology, or just helps them rationalize whether they should buy one particular product over another, if that helps one person, then again, it's all worthwhile. And then also, as you know, if you're a regular viewer on Geekanoids, I also publish sort of time management videos and things like that. Again, if it helps just one person, then all of the other comments, the negative comments, they just go straight over the head. So anyway, thank you very much again for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And wherever you are in the world, have a fantastic day. We've got the weekend coming up. In the UK, it's bank holiday weekend. So if you are in the UK, have a fantastic extended bank holiday weekend as well. And I'll see you all in another video very soon.